In this video, we're going to talk about how to put together the robot um, in SolidWorks. And if you haven't used VEX parts before, I know that many of you have been on VEX teams, but then you might want to take the time to go through this playlist, which talks about some of the parts and also about some of the design principles as well. And of course, this playlist is found right in the Introduction to Robotics and VEX Parts module right here. So the other thing is there is a document just to put together a few things of just some pictures and definitions of parts that you might not know what they are. So this is called the Gusset. You can see this is a flat one. It's a 90-degree gusset. It's used to like strengthen if you have a joint, if you have two channels coming together at 90 degrees. And then this one also can go in a quarter. This is also a little bit different shape, but it's also a 90-degree gusset. These locking bars are, VEX uses a lot of these 1/8" shafts to apply torque. So if you build something, say maybe it's a piece of wood or something like that, and you want to try to use one of these 1/8" shafts to turn it, then you could bolt something like this to it. It's a metal plate just to make it a little stronger. These Nylox nuts are so that you can tighten up a nut and it won't loosen up. Or if you want to use, say, a bolt and one of these nuts as a pivot, then maybe you have two links together and you want them to be able to rotate, but you don't want the nut to loosen up. So that's also a good use of those. And these are called standoffs. They're actually, the diameter of these is all the same size. All the V5 screws that you'll be using are 832. So an 8 screw, a number 8 screw has to do with a diameter, like a number 4 screw is a smaller diameter than a number 8. In the 32, when you say 832, that means it has 32 threads per inch. So yeah, that's actually an English designation. Um, Ironically, most of the VEX dimensions are in inches. Like the spacing on the holes, for instance, on a lot of the metal is a 1/2 inch apart. Okay, so this is kind of new for the V5. So this is a bearing on this end, and this has like a hex recess that the nut goes in. So that helps keep the nut from loosening up also. And then at the end is a tab that fits in the next hole over. And then this type right here is just to hold the nut, and this again fits in the tab. And then these are 4-post hex nut retainers. So if you have like 1x2x1 C channel, the holes are staggered. You have actually it's a one, but they call it a 1x2x1, but actually the 2 has 3 rows of holes, not 2. But the middle row is offset, so that each row the holes are a 1/2 inch apart, but then the middle row is offset by 1/4 of an inch. So that's where these other tabs would fit into. So as it says here, the 1x3x1, which are just 3 rows of holes all lined up, they're not staggered. These 4-post hex nuts would not work in those. If you want to create a hinge, sometimes you can use, this is called a pillow block bearing. So you can put a shaft in here and you can put one on either side and create your own hinge. These are called flat bearings. And then the VEX V5 has some high strength shaft, which is 1/4 inch square rather than 1/8 inch. So it's quite a bit stronger. And it has these different bearings. Obviously, the regular size flat bearing, these are for the 1/8 inch square shafts. This is for the 1/4 inch square shaft. And then you have these different spacers for the 1/4 inch square shaft. So the difference between a collar and a spacer is a collar has a set screw. So you can use that not just to provide a space between two parts on an axle, but actually to tighten up and hold the part in place on the axle. And then these are inserts so that you can go from a 1/4 by 1/4 hole to either an 1/8 by 1/8 hole for the 1/8 inch axles, or if you just want it to spin freely, an 1/8 inch axle is spinning freely, you can put these tabs into like gears and wheels, things like that. So we'll pick up from here on the next video.